after year, the United States beats all other countries in having the highest rate of incarceration in the world. According to a 2018 report from the Bureau of Justice Statistics, over 2.2 million adults were held behind bars at the end of 2016. People of color and Native Americans make up the majority of those in prison. George Samueli, a senior fellow at the Global Policy Institute, has researched incarceration trends in the U.S. and abroad.
That statistic isn't incomplete because that leaves out there's something like 4.5 to 5 million people who are within the criminal justice system, who are on parole or on probation, and so they're, in other words, still within the actual system. So you're talking about something like 7 million people in the United States who are immersed within the criminal justice system.
Today, 5 Omar Muallimak is a well-known activist, but not long ago he spent 12 years in New York State prison, 5 of those years isolated in solitary confinement for a nonviolent offense. When released, he founded the Incarcerated Nation Corporation.
Incarcerated Nation, we work to support over 400 of us who are leaders. Each one of us has our own project. So we kind of have a little hands in every lane.
This is his office, and of all the images on his wall, there is one that stands out.
So for me, like, I'm living outside that door now. And so it's good to have a visual of that cell that I once lived in.
This poster details what is known as the prison industrial complex, where the interests of government and the private sector overlap. Incarceration becomes a business, and inmates become commodities.
That 400 years of inequality goes hand in hand with 400 years of incarceration. When America first established and started the prison industrial complex system, it was because slavery was ending sort of around the 1700s into the 1800s. And at that point in time, you had all of these people that you used to get all this free labor for, that you created all this economy for. When America first started, they were basically the English who came over to this new country that they took, and then they wanted to build it, so they had to ship in so many people from different countries to actually force them to build the commodities that they needed.
In the 1980s, more people were being arrested on drug charges. State and federal prisons were packed, so the first private prison opened in Texas. It's called Core Civic, with over 65 correctional facilities. Its revenue extends over $1.7 billion. The second largest private prison is Geo Group, managing 70 correctional and detention facilities. Both trade public on the stock market. And because of their powerful lobbying in Washington, prison reform has been tough.
And in the 1990s, Congress passed the 3 strikes and you're out law, which means you've got 3 felonies, and it doesn't matter whether your last felony is you stole a couple of videos from a video store. If that's your 3rd felony, you're going to prison for life.
According to the Prison Policy Initiative, $80 billion is spent each year on corrections facilities alone. So how much does incarceration cost? Well, it depends.
$47,000 to $50,000 per person in New York State. Per year. That depends on a person's age. See, if you're 55 or over, it's $75,000 to $80,000 because geriatric care is harder. And then it's $75,000 to $80,000 if you're a juvenile because taking care of kids is harder. But the reason why it costs that much is because privatization, right? They have to buy a pack of ketchup for every person, a pack of mustard, a pack of salt, a pack of pepper, a plastic fork for each one. These are ordered from Cisco systems, right? They do get federal contracts. They make the license plates. They also make every product that is sold to the federal system,
including products made for governmental housing, or NYCHA, as it's called in New York.
So yes, we live in NYCHA. I go upstate to prison. Every paint, every floor cleaner, the mop solutions, the paint buckets, the ink that they use to print materials, the housing clothes, the housing uniforms that the worker makes, that's what people make in state prison.
Mega corporations also contract prison labor. It's called prison insourcing, the cheaper alternative to outsourcing. With a wide variety of companies such as Boeing, McDonald's, IBM, Victoria's Secret, Starbucks, and Nike, among others, inmates get paid roughly 16 cents an hour. While advocates say prison labor benefit the inmate and gives them structure, studies have shown that unless rehabilitation programs are integrated during the time of incarceration, when inmates are released, they will not have the right mechanisms in place to succeed.
The only test of the effectiveness of incarceration is on the recidivism rate. is if the recidivism rate is low, then you say, okay, well, all right, incarceration is brutal, nasty, unpleasant, but at least it does its job. But it hasn't done it. If you've got, as in the American system, which is an extraordinarily high recidivism rate, then quite obviously this penal system isn't working.
One reason is lack of housing. If a formerly incarcerated individual has family in government housing, it's against the law for them to return there. And that's why, for many, just one arrest is enough to get caught up in the system for the rest of their lives. The prison industrial complex, as it is often called, goes beyond the rights of criminals or those behind bars. It speaks to the larger issue here in the United States, race relations and the unfair treatment of minorities. Susan Madaris, USA Really, New York.